Maylan Newton, with over 40 years of automotive industry experience. Maylan Newton has literally been there and done that. From shop owner, technician, service advisor to one of the most renowned industry trainers and speakers in the country. Maylan combines his real-world experience with profit-building takeaways in a humorous and an engaging manner that only Maylan can deliver. As the president and CEO of ESI seminars for the past 20 years, Maylan travels the country sharing with his audiences the keys to being successful in the automotive repair industry today. Maylan lives in beautiful Simi Valley, California. And Maylan, we just want to say thank you and welcome you for being here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
Man, that made me feel old. So thank you all very much for first inviting me to come and talk to you today. As always, I really miss going to ATE this year, and hopefully we'll do a great, we'll have a great time at the virtual ATE, but I appreciate the chance to talk about something that I believe strongly in. And anybody that gets an email from me actually knows my signature says I'm the Chief Influence Officer. And this class kind of came about from a lot of reflection and a lot of thought process over the last 5.5 years since my little motorcycle crash. So,
how's it going? Okay, hang on a second.
It means a lot to me. So I'll go ahead and get started. And if you have questions, holler them out. Try to make this as interactive as we can. I know it's difficult sometimes. We get distracted and those kind of things. So we'll try to make this as interactive as possible. So what is Fluence, you know? And a lot of you know who this lady is. And she actually, in about the last year, she just recently passed away, the lady that modeled for this. But most of you know what this came from. Most of you my age did, and even some of the younger generations. But she had influence at a time when we really needed to have a purpose. And for those of you who don't know who this lady is, she was the face of the women coming into the factories, which they didn't do, and building all the equipment we used to win, be successful in World War II. And influence is many different things. It's as simple as a photograph, and it can be 1 or 2 words. So when we think about the word influence, most of us don't think about our influence on a day-to-day basis. And we really need to start doing that. Every day we influence people either positive or negative. And very few of us put any thought into it. So yesterday, for example, I made a post that basically said, you know, 7/1/2020 is a very special day because it only happens one time in your lifetime. And somebody pointed out to me, well, that's every day. And I said, that's the point. Today is a special day because you have a chance to make a difference in the world. You have a chance to influence people. And my question is, how do you influence people? What did you do yesterday? And what are you going to do today that makes the world a better place? And by the world, I'm not talking about halfway across the globe. I'm talking about the world you live in, the 100 feet around you, the 5 feet around you, your shop, your community, your association, your employees. And that's where we have to think about what influence actually means to us. And one of the things that when I was writing this class, I started thinking about what makes people influential. When you think about the people who influenced you to be who you are or what you are, who were these people? Is it fame? Well, in my opinion, no, not really, because there's some infamous people that I don't want to be associated with and I don't want to be thought of in the same time frame. Is it the richest people? Is it the poorest people? I don't think it has anything to do with money. Money is one of those funny things. You can do a lot of very good things with it, and you can do a lot of very bad things with it. So is money influential? Yes, but it's not the reason people are influential. Is it having exposure? When you look at somebody that has 1 million people following them on social media, does that make them influential? It does. But how are they using that influence? You know, as I say, is it for good or is it for evil? And I don't know if you can see it or not, but over my right shoulder is 2 people that influence me. They're kind of small, but they're 2 people that influence me. One of them is Tigger and one of them is Eeyore. And to me, that's the way I look at influence. Am I going to be a Tigger today and be positive and upbeat? Or am I going to be an Eeyore and everything's bad? That's influence. So I keep them on my desk, actually right behind my desk, so that every day I see them and I make a conscious choice. Am I going to be a Tigger influence today, or am I going to be a Eeyore influence today? And having exposure, meeting people, being on social media, being a public figure like some people are, that has influence on people. But do you think those people get up every morning and go, what kind of influence am I going to have on the people I meet today? That's what I want you to do. I want you to get up every day, have a conversation with yourself, and talk about that to yourself. What kind of influence am I going to have today? I choose to be a positive influence. I choose to try to find the good in people, and I try to find the right ways to influence people to do better. I think that's missing from today's world. And whether you influence your employee, a client, the person at the coffee shop you stop at, it doesn't matter. You can change somebody's life by kindness, the right words, or just caring about them. So I want to talk a little bit about what makes people influential. And the first thing it is you have to believe in yourself. If you don't have confidence, if you don't believe that you can make a difference, you won't. And I think this is the one thing that's lacking from a lot of people in today's world, is the ability to have just belief in yourself, to know that you make a difference. I don't consider myself anybody special. You know, I tell people all the time, I'm just a car guy that's brave enough to talk in front of people. I love the industry, but I can walk into anybody's shop, pick up the phone and make a sale and make an appointment for you. And part of that is not skill set, it's my confidence level in myself. And please don't mistake that with being egotistical. We laugh about that, but a lot of people are very egotistical. You know those people. And then there's people that just have confidence. And you can tell the confident person when they walk into the room, when they speak, they don't have to pound their chest and say, listen to me, I'm important, or I'm in front of you, so you should listen to me. They actually do that without saying a word. It's the way they carry themselves. It's the choice of their words. It's the way they speak. It's their attitude. So I want you to develop confidence. You are leaders in your community, in your business, in your association, and I want you to have confidence that you're doing the right things for the right reasons. And that will change how people perceive you, and you will have more influence on them. Don't be egotistical. Just have confidence. And I think this is also very important. We need to treat people, everyone, with respect. Everyone is here for a purpose and a reason, and we need to respect that. And I really feel that that's missing in today's world also. The common courtesy of please and thank you, of looking a person in the eye, this all influences people. And when my children were little, and they're both rather old now, I always treated them like adults. When they were 7 or 8 years old, 6 years old, even younger, I got down, eye level with them, and I talked to them like an adult. And I think it made a difference in the way they treat people today. I respected them as human beings. I still disciplined them. I still held them accountable. I still taught them the difficult lessons. But I had to influence them to be the very best people they could be. And I think respect is one of those things that gets lost today. So respect your customers, respect your employees, respect each other, because this is part of having influence over people. If I respect you, you're more than likely going to listen to what I have to say with an open mind, instead of starting out with a closed mind or just ignoring what I'm trying to help you with. Be yourself, be genuine. You know, I tell people all the time, whether you meet me in the airport, you meet me in a class, you meet me in a restaurant, I'm Maylan. This is me. And I don't want to be everybody's best friend. I want you to respect my knowledge. I've invested a lot of time in this industry, and I am by no means the sharpest crayon in the box. Many of you on this phone call today, this meeting today, have more knowledge than I do. And I'm learning from you as you learn from me. That's influence. You influence me to be a better person. And I hope that every time I get an opportunity to talk with you, I'm influencing you to be a better person. And, you know, I practice the golden rule. Do unto others before they do it to you. No, I'm sorry. That's the wrong rule. That's the bronze rule. The golden rule is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So I try to do that. I'm not perfect, but I'm very genuine in the fact that you're dealing with me, and I'm going to be the same person every time you see me. I genuinely care about our industry and about you. And I put a lot of effort to help the industry. And I've adapted an attitude of servitude where I want to help you and the industry succeed. And when that happens, I'll succeed. That's what I mean by being genuine. Put the right person first, and it's not always you. So be yourselves. Don't expect everybody to love you. And I like to show interest in others. I'm fascinated by how many different jobs there are out there and how many different ways people make livings and how they do their job. That's why I'm the guy that you're going to hate in the airport, because I'll talk to you. I want to know about things. But I also want to know about a lot of knowledge. I want to learn a lot. So by learning a lot of things, I can show interest in other people's jobs. And in most cases, I'm going to start a conversation off with, how are you today? How are things? How is your family? Because there's nobody that you will talk to that doesn't want to talk about themselves or their family. We all love to share. So show interest in others. Stop making it about fixing the car and start making it about a relationship that you build with your clients and also your employees. Not every day, not every moment, but every time I talk to an employee, I'd ask, how are you doing? How's your family doing? How are your kids doing? How are the kids doing in baseball? Work will come and we'll get busy and we'll have to talk about that. But let me show interest in you first. Let me show that I care about you first, and then you'll be more receptive to what I have to say and how I'm going to say it. But most of us are so busy doing what I call chasing the dollar that we forget it's about people. I'm doing a new class next year that's called relationship selling. And I'll be honest with you, if you build a relationship with your clients, your employees, with your vendors, with other members of the association, even with the leaders of your association, you will excel. You will be a better business person. You will be a better business owner, and your business will prosper. That's influence. By showing interest in other people, you influence them to be better people. And always speak politely. Yelling and screaming, what I call leadership by intimidation, or as my dad used to do it or I'll kill you, only works for a period of time. And I get being frustrated and angry sometimes, and you know, the lessons that you have to learn are expensive. You pay tuition. But if you want to be a true influencer of people, you have to learn how to speak to people. And the simplest words that you can use that mean the greatest to most people are please and thank you. Now, gentlemen, when you go home tonight, go to your wife or your spouse or significant other, look her in the eye and say, thank you so much for all you do for me. And then I take a step back, because the first words out of her mouth are going to be either, what did you buy, or what did you do? Because we don't do that often enough. Every one of your employees would appreciate you coming to them going, thank you. And you don't have to be specific. Thank you for doing this, or thank you for doing that. But just tell them thank you. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for taking care of this. Thank you for emptying the trash can. And most employees don't hear it often enough that when you say it, they're looking for, but, thank you, but. You need to be polite to everybody. You know, hold doors open for people. Be courteous. Let other people go first. I know it sounds silly, but you influence people. And there was a TV commercial about showing a person holding a door open, that person walking through the door and then doing something nice for somebody else. And it's a snowball effect. So when you're polite to them, you say, thank you and please, I appreciate you. Hold the door open, do something special for them. It snowballs. Your employees will be nicer to each other. They'll be nicer to your customers. You know, I once handled a complaint for a client of ours, and the whole customer's complaint was a technician walked by them and didn't acknowledge them. Didn't say good morning, good afternoon, whatever the case may be. But it upset that employee. I'm sorry, it has upset that customer to the point where they weren't going to bring their car back to that shop. And I turned to the leadership, because it was the leadership that should have caught that and fixed that. Smile. I jokingly tell people I haven't worked a day in the last 40 years. I love what I do. I love going to work every single day. And I work almost every single day. But to me, it's not work. It's fun. I don't get up and go, I have to go to work. I get up and say, I get to. And it's really funny. I had a conversation with a young lady, and she told me, I hate going to work. It's no fun. I don't want to get up. She wasn't doing the sales that she was capable of doing. And over the course of 2 or 3 months, we had conversations once a week, and we just talked about that. And I had a conversation with her that, you know, nothing's guaranteed. Your job's not a guarantee. Success is not a guarantee. It's internal. It's about what you feel inside. And we talked about this, like I said, for several weeks. And just last week, in the middle of all this turmoil going on, she had a $30,000 sales week. And the only thing that's changed, the customers haven't changed, the shop hasn't changed, the employees haven't changed, and the cars haven't changed. It was all her attitude. She told me, I looked forward to going to work. I was playing the game you talk about, Maylan. I was going to work thinking, what can I do today to make today better? How can I do what I need to do to make this happen? She asked for the sales. And this is the influence that she had. Then she went out and she smiled at the employees and thanked them and said, thank you. And everybody in the shop smiled, and everybody else was a little lighter minded. The shop is doing better because her attitude changed. This is influence. I was fortunate enough to have influence on her, but she was smart enough to take the words I used and apply them. So smiling and giving them help will go a long ways towards improving your business. I didn't ask her to go out and make these huge sales. What I asked her to do was find a way to enjoy what she did, to go to work with anticipation of a great day instead of a bad day. When you're dealing with the public, you're not going to always have a good day. It's how fast you recover from it. You're going to hear no. It's your influence. When you go out in the shop and you complain about a customer, you influenced everybody in the shop to dislike that customer or to think all customers are the same. So don't do that. This is huge to the attitude of your entire crew. And no matter how good you are, without your staff, you don't even have a business. So be as helpful as possible. Help them become successful. Stop asking them to do it for you and show them how to do it for them. Find out what's important to them and help them get that. I had a very young service writer a number of years ago, and to motivate him, we had a conversation, and he told me, I want to buy a home. So we talked about how can we, the business, help you buy this home. And we put together a bonus plan that allowed him to buy a home. And in his early 20s, he was able to buy a home because we made him more important than the shop. And in turn, the shop was very successful because he was focused on us. Be proactive and attentive. Most of us are reactionary. Something happens, we act. What I want you to do is preemptively act. Pay attention. Look up from what you're doing. Look around. See what's going on. Don't wait for it to happen. Start thinking about not just today or what's for lunch or what am I doing tomorrow. What's happening next week, next month, next year, next quarter, next decade. We should be talking right now about the equipment you need to buy in 2022. We need to think about the training you need to have in 2022. I have a paper calendar I carry with me everywhere I go that goes all the way out, yes, paper calendar, I'm old, to 2024. Because I've had people come to me and go, hey, I'm thinking about having you speak at an event. When's the event? 2023. Let me get my calendar out. Let me see what I've got scheduled for those dates. Let's put that in tentatively, and I'll reach out to you next year, still a couple of years in advance, to schedule things. So be proactive and be attentive to your staff. Pay attention. When somebody comes in a bad mood or having a problem, pay attention to them and understand. I'm sorry. Attentiveness applies to everything. You know, when I used to come home and I'd say something kind to my spouse, her first word she asked me was, what did you buy? Because I'll be honest, I'm guilty of this. I had race cars follow me home. I had a crew cab dually follow me home. I've had all kinds of toys follow me home. You know, like the little lost puppy, honey, can I keep him? And then I realized that I wasn't giving her the thing she needed, which was simple. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for allowing this to happen. Thank you for giving me the freedom to do something I love to do. And it affects everybody in your business. Be nice to the parts drivers. Be nice to the people on the counter at the parts place. Just be polite and be helpful. My number one thing in life is I want to help you, all of you, be successful. That's my number one purpose of being on this today. I want to help you be successful. I don't expect anything from you. I'm not going to ask you for anything, but I'm here because I want to be helpful. And if you go through life being helpful, you will have huge influence on people. Huge. In the first part of March, before the COVID-19 shut everybody down, when I left Vision, I went to Oklahoma and spent 5 days talking at schools. And the only reason I was there to try to influence these young people, and I spoke at everything from an elementary school all the way up to one of the largest technical training schools in Oklahoma. And my entire purpose was to get them interested in our industry. I didn't receive any pay for that. It cost me money to be there. But I felt so strongly that this was the right thing I was to do to help our industry that I invested into it. So be proactive and attentive to not only yourself and your staff, your clients, but also our industry. And I want you to influence other people in a very positive way. Now, here's something I want you to think about. 80% of all communication is visual, not verbal. So I remember when I was little growing up, my dad used to say this to me. Don't do as I say, or don't do as I say, do as I do. And we have to think about this. And I got that backwards. Don't do as I do, do as I say. Everything that you do that they watch, how you interact with customers, how you interact with other employees. So think about this. If you have 4 employees and you take one aside in front of them and you berate that person, we just told everybody else that was watching that that is an okay behavior, that's the way we lead people. So your entire being is being watched. Your kids watch you, your customers watch you, your parent, you know, as a parent, everybody's watching you. And think about who influences your children. It's your teachers, it's the coaches, it's the leaders of their social groups. You have to set the example. So if you tell your kids don't steal and then you steal, you've influenced them in the wrong direction. So we need to do everything possible to make sure we keep them moving the right direction. So influence everyone in a positive way instead of not paying attention to this. You, all of you, everybody on this Zoom meeting today are people of influence. There's somebody you're influencing. An employee, a client, a neighbor, a child, an adult. You are all people of influence. Most of you are pillars of the community. You've been in business a long time. You lead the association. You're doing a lot of things. And what I need you to do is get up every morning and talk to yourself about how you're going to influence the people you run across that day. I have a meeting every morning when I wake up with my board of directors. There's 3 of us there. It's me, myself, and I. And we talk about this. What kind of day are we going to have? I'm going to have a spectacular day. Not a good day, a spectacular day. And I make it a choice to use my time wisely. Every day I post something on my social media that's positive. I don't like negative things. I separate myself from negative people. These are choices I've made because I want to influence people positively. I cannot tell you the last time you saw a negative post on my social media. And in fact, the last time it was from a friend of mine, and I posted, don't post negative things. And he chose to unfriend me, and I'm okay with that because I don't want anybody that reads my social media to be influenced in a negative way. So get up and use your influence wisely. You know, whether it be the janitor that you walk by in the hallway, the nurse who's taking care of a family member, the doctor you go to, an employee in your shop, use your influence wisely because it does make a difference. Keep people only with people whose presence calls forth your very best. In other words, surround yourself with great people. I want to be surrounded by people who are better than I am at everything I do. And I want to have to aspire to be as good as they are. I always want you to work towards being better. And Henry Ford said, I don't want to be the smartest guy in the room. And that's the way I feel. And that's how influence makes a difference. Surround yourself with people smarter than you. There was a question asked, if you could go back in time to anybody and have a conversation with them, who would that be? And I got to tell you, my list is long and varied because I could learn so much from the people who have been before me. So I want you to understand you have influence. Use it wisely. Surround yourself with people who are smarter, better, wiser, kinder than you are. And it'll make a difference in you and your business. We're like chameleons. We take our you and moral character from those around us. Basically, it's like your mom used to tell you, you are who you hang out with. So I choose to hang out with very smart people. That's why I love talking to this association. That's why I love going to your events, because every one of you is smarter than I am. And I'm learning from you as you learn something. One of the things I used to teach my children, I say this all the time, even today, is I want to learn something new every day. from you, from somebody I encounter. And I think that's why I miss being out in the public so much right now, is because I miss that social interaction where I get to learn something new from everybody around us. So surround yourself with good people of high standards and try to be them. People exercise an unconscious selection in being influenced. What that means is a lot of times your conscious mind isn't choosing the people you listen to, the people you emulate. And one of the things that irritates me to no end is because the person can play a game and is on TV and makes millions of dollars, they become role models for our children. And I got to tell you, most of them are not role models. So I want you to be the role models. I don't want some football star or basketball star or baseball star being the role models for not only your children, but your staff and the people who come into your store. I want you to be that person they put on the pedestal and that they look up to and that they want to be like you. So choose, be conscious in your thought about what you're going to do today and how you're going to influence people, because it makes a difference in everybody around you. And you may not know that for 30 years. And if you're a parent, you spend a lot of time and effort investing in your children and influencing them. And you know, it's amazing when you get a note from them. When my daughter went away to college, I got a simple 3x5 card from her, and it simply said, "Dad, I get it now. Thank you for being the parent you were and for holding me accountable." I got the same thing from my son, worded differently, but the same meaning. And you're doing that. I feel good about who my children are and the people they've become. And I want to influence all of you to do the same thing for your staff members, your children, everybody you meet, the person in the restaurant who serves you food, the person who delivers your parts. All of these people are important to you. I really appreciate you being here today. We're trying to get back to doing some classes as soon as this thing settles down a little bit. One of the things I've talked to Pamela and other people at ASA Northwest about is coming up and doing our 2-day service advisor school. It's limited to 10 attendees. It's very intense. It's 16 hours of training. If you're interested in us doing that as soon as we can, please let ASA Northwest know you're interested. It is not going to be the least expensive class you take, but it may have the greatest impact upon your business and make a huge difference in your business. So thank you very much for attending this today. And most importantly, thank you ASA Northwest, Brenda, Pamela, and everybody else involved in the leadership of ASA Northwest for allowing me to be here today. It is certainly an honor and a privilege to be here. If you have questions, we can go ahead and take those, or if you want, contact me at your leisure, and I'll be more than happy to spend whatever time I can to help you with anything in your business. And I look forward to seeing you on the virtual trade show as it comes up. Thank you all very much for being here.
Maylan, I had a quick question for you.
Yes, sir.
That service advisor course, is that something that could be done virtually like this as well?
Well, 16 hours of training is difficult to do virtually. But part of the reason that class is so successful is because it has a lot of interaction. It's a lot of sharing stories. And in a controlled environment like a classroom, people feel more comfortable than in a web-based thing where it may not be as secure as possible. We can do some sales training and those kind of things virtually, but the 2-day class, I have not been able to successfully do that anyway but in person. But I'm willing to try whatever you guys would like to try.
Well, only thought I would be if you could break it into like 4 sessions over a month period or something, 3-hour sessions or something, and then you come back into that next week with the report card or whatever the suggestions that you were going to try to get through for that week. I don't know. We can talk about it. I just thought that I think it'd be pretty powerful, especially these times when people aren't really willing to get together, right?
Right. I agree. And let me assure you, we've had this conversation amongst ourselves at ESI about how we do that. And, you know, one of the powerful things about a relationship is, you know, during that class, for example, everybody's early to class. We all have lunch together. We typically all go to dinner together. So there's a lot of relationship building there. But like I said, we can talk about it. We can work on it. We can do, a ton of sales training. Part of the thing that we'll be missing is that relationship part of it via the internet. But I'm always willing to discuss it. So we can definitely talk about this down the road.
No problem. Thank you. Thanks for this too today, Maylan.
Any other questions? Or comments or concerns or?
Well, Maylan, we really appreciate you being here today. Every time I listen to one of your presentations, it makes me want to be a better person, and I like that. It's just good things to apply to our everyday life. I just want to wish everybody a happy Independence Day weekend, and we'll see everybody again next week for our Lunch and Learn next Thursday, July the 9th. Again, thanks for being here, Maylan.
Thank you, Maylan.
Thanks, Pam and Brenda, for putting this on too.
No, Brenda, I didn't do nothing.
No, I'll take the credit wins.
Right?
Bye-bye.
Happy 4th, everybody.
Yeah, happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th, and thank you all again.
Thank you.